This is how to build a crypto trading bot using AI, so you can try and beat the market by removing all human emotions from trading. Now, there are a ton of trading strategies out there that people absolutely swear by, but most of them don't actually work when you backtest them. So what if you could use AI to help you build, test, and validate trading strategies in a fraction of the time? Given tools like Claude are getting insanely good at writing code, I wondered if I could use them to backtest a strategy that most traders would think is completely backwards. And the strategy in this video I'm going to be walking through is that we're buying when RSI is high and selling when RSI is low. So the complete opposite of what everyone teaches you. And I'm going to show you exactly how I built it and whether it actually made money over the long term. Does this backward RSI strategy actually work in crypto? Can AI actually write solid backtesting code? And could you actually use this to get an edge? Well, I've been coding for over a decade now, and what I've learned is A, the most popular trading strategies don't survive a proper backtest. B, AI has completely changed how fast we can actually build these things. And C, if you don't know what to look for, AI will write code for you that looks perfect, but is actually hiding huge mistakes that will blow up your account. And the people who can spot these errors are the ones that will absolutely lap everyone else in progress. So on that note, I'm going to break down this video into a couple of parts, and it begins with part one, which is the tools you're going to need to actually do this, which is obviously AI and a coding environment. So for AI, I personally use Claude the most, specifically Claude Code if I'm using it as a coding assistant, and it is by far the best model right now for understanding context and writing clean code. But feel free to experiment. Each week, a new model is getting better, so if you're watching this video in a month's time, it might be completely different. However, feel free to check out Gemini, ChatGPT, etc. Now for a coding environment, primarily this is where you're just being able to run code so it can actually execute for you. You can use Visual Studio Code, which is completely free and it's what most developers use, or you can use something called Cursor, which is kind of an AI built-in version of Visual Studio Code. The key thing here though is you don't need to be a developer anymore to get started. AI can write code for you, but what is most important is you need to understand what the code is actually doing. And that's what this video is for. So let's get into the strategy that makes absolutely no sense on the surface. Normally, every trading course, every YouTube video, every book will tell you the same thing about RSI. Buy when it's low, so like 30 for example, and then sell it when it's above 70 for example, meaning that it is overbought. We're doing the complete opposite on this. We're going to be longing when RSI crosses above 70, and we're going to be exiting when RSI drops back below 30, and maybe even shorting as well. Now you might be thinking, why the hell are you doing this? Why are you going the complete opposite way? Well, it's actually because crypto is a momentum-driven market. When RSI is actually screaming overbought, that often means there's a massive trend that is just getting started. Think about every Bitcoin rally. By the time RSI hits 70, the move is actually only halfway done most of the time. The traditional RSI approach is more as a mean reversion strategy, right? So you're selling when it's overbought and then buying it back when it's oversold. But because crypto trends quite hard, momentum strategies actually capture those trends way better and could often result in a higher P&L compared to a mean reversion strategy. So the logic is very simple. Let me break it down one last time. When RSI crosses above 70, we enter long. When RSI drops below 30, we exit. And if we're going to do shorts, we're going to enter below 30 and exit above 70. So let me break down the code I actually wrote for this. It has 7 main sections. I'm going to walk you through each one so you can understand and also know what to ask AI when you're building your own backtester, for example. Now, section 1 is dependencies. These are primarily just libraries the code is needing to actually be able to run. So for example, we're using bog standard ones. We're using pandas for data handling, NumPy for math, FFN for portfolio statistics, matplotlib for charts, and Binance to actually pull real market data. And probably the last one is the most important here. The amount of backtests I've seen of people using AI to backtest a particular strategy, and AI actually just creates completely fake data. Because if you ask AI, for example, hey, I want to backtest this particular strategy, and you give it no context of what market, what data to pull, what coding language to use, it's really just going to create something that is going to please you on first sight, which is normally going to be a nice looking XY curve that's going to the right, and it's going to be using completely fake data that is generated. Or worse, it's using really low quality data, which isn't actually going to be very useful for you as well. So it's pretty much like using random data. So this leads to section 2, data download. This pulls historical candle data directly from Binance. Now, why are we using Binance? For the most part in the crypto market, Binance has the highest liquidity data, meaning it has the highest amount of volume. And normally to get kind of the truest price, you normally want a market that has the most amount of volume. So of course we could pull from other exchanges, but for the most part nowadays, Binance normally has the most volume. One thing I also built into the script was I built in caching. Once I downloaded the data, it basically meant that it's saving it to a CSV file, or you could save it to a database as well. So you don't have to hit the API every single time to run the script. This kind of thing, often AI will forget unless you really prompt it to add it. It will depend on a case-by-case basis, but especially if you're using daily data or hourly data, it can be quite useful to just save it as to CSV because it means running the next backtest is a lot faster because you have that data on hand. Now, section 3 is the RSI calculation. This is where it actually gets a bit interesting. There are actually two ways, or two common ways, to calculate RSI. We have the SMA method and we have the Wilder's smoothing method. Most people don't actually really know the difference between these, and AI will often recommend just the default one, which can sometimes be wrong. So I tested both, and I'll show you the results later in this video of this particular strategy, so make sure to stick around. Section 4 is signal generation. This is the core logic. When RSI crosses above 70, we're going long. When it drops below 30, we're exiting. The critical thing here, though, is a look-ahead bias prevention. I use shifted data, so the strategy only sees completed bars. It never enters on the current bar. This is one of the biggest mistakes AI will normally make, and it's basically writing code that accidentally peeks into the future, and your backtest will look incredible because it's using bars that haven't actually fully completed yet. Another quick tip when actually using AI, if you ask AI, for example, build me an RSI backtest, it will, and it will run, but it will most likely have certain errors with it. It most likely will have no fee modeling. It will normally have look-ahead bias, depending on how you prompted it. And sometimes it'll even have a wrong RSI calculation, or it'll have no correct data like I mentioned above. The returns will probably look amazing, but they'll be completely fake. The fix for this is give AI a proven template to work from instead of building from scratch. And that's exactly where the Crypto Momentum Group comes in. We provide templates, strategy ideas, and help you going from building a completely new backtest to live execution, even if you've never coded before. We help you build your first live crypto algo, and if you're interested in this, feel free to click the link in the description for more info. Now onto the next part is cost modeling. This is something normally that separates a useless backtest from a real one, and it's also what most YouTubers miss when they're showing you backtests of a particular strategy. They show you a strategy, for example, that makes 500% returns and completely forgets that trading costs money. In my code, I actually use 4 types of costs. We have the maker fees and the taker fees, which you'll obviously have to pull from your particular exchange, but in this example, I just used Binance default charge. And the reason for this is every time you enter and exit, it's going to cost you money, so you have to factor that in. I also include slippage, and this is because when you place a market order, you rarely get the exact price you see. Now, in my particular backtest, I always assume slippage is going to be against me. While obviously in the live case, that's not going to be always the case. I always prefer to be pessimistic with a backtest rather than trying to make it look even better, because most of the time when you take this live, there's going to be even more things you maybe didn't factor in. Lastly, and pretty much everyone forgets about this, is funding rates. So of course, if you're using perps in crypto, which is pretty much just like using futures, you're going to have to pay for that particular position if you're using leverage. Most of the time as well, you're going to get negative funding rates when you're shorting. So you're going to have to factor that in if you are doing shorting or longing in your particular strategy. Most backtests completely ignore this, and it can destroy a strategy's profitability because it can add up to be quite a big cost depending on your account size. To give you a sneak peek, in my backtest for this particular strategy, it actually cost me about $1,300 over the lifetime of this particular strategy running on a $1,000 account. And that's real money you're going to have to pay, which obviously maybe doesn't sound like a lot right now, but if the strategy wasn't profitable, for example, that's money that's just coming out of your account for taking some trades. If you're not modeling this, your backtest is probably lying to you, so make sure you include costs. Now let's get on to what everyone's been waiting for. What are the results of this particular strategy? First, we're going to look at the results for longing only. As we can see, it's quite profitable. It definitely has some volatility, but on BTC and ETH, from August 2017 to February 2026, starting with just $1,000 on a 4-hour time frame, the SMA method of RSI turned $1,000 to $9,500 approximately, with about a 30% annual return. It had a Sharpe ratio of 0.65, and it had a max drawdown of 60%, which is pretty high. Not bad, but let's also see the other method. This is the second equity curve that is using the Wilder's RSI method. It turned $1,000 into $54,000 and $600 or so. It had about a 60% annual return, Sharpe ratio of 0.96, and the max drawdown was actually slightly better at 57%. The only difference between these two equity curves is how the RSI is calculated. Wilder's smoothing is a lot less reactive, so it generates fewer trades. It had 157 trades versus 454 on the SMA method, but each trade captured a lot more of the trend, and we also had less cost on it. This is exactly the kind of thing AI isn't going to tell you unless you know how to ask, or if you're consuming other knowledge apart from just asking AI to create a backtest for you, for example. Now let's also look at sensitivity heat maps. This is just a robustness method that I like to use. It's also called parameter sensitivity. We want to see how sensitive these parameters are to changing the profitability of this particular strategy. As we can see in this example, we can see every threshold for long entry threshold and long exit threshold. The deeper blue it is, the better the result, and the yellow it is, the worse the result for the most part. Now, as you can see, they're pretty much all profitable, so it doesn't really become unprofitable, but obviously that profitability really ranges. What you ideally want to see is a smooth gradient. You would ideally want to see a clear sweet spot that doesn't really fall apart if you shift the parameters by a couple of points. If the best result, for example, is a single dark pixel in this, and then it was surrounded by yellow, that's usually unlikely to work live, and it's most likely fitted to noise. But as we can see here, we actually have a broad range of profitability around the 70 to 78 entry and the 20 to 30 exit for longs. Now, it's not as smooth as I would completely prefer. But one thing to keep in mind with this, because it is being marked by final total equity, the drop off is going to be more severe because obviously as you take less trades, it is going to be less likely for you to have as much absolute returns. This isn't always the case, but for example, taking 157 trades versus taking only 20 trades using a 90 RSI, it's going to be very unlikely that you're going to be able to get close to that final total equity of the other particular parameter. So another way you can vary this is by using Sharpe ratio. You can look at tons of different metrics, but I thought this would be a great example where I can talk about the pros and the cons of it. But overall, we're happy to see that not one single parameter count works, and we do sort of see a range around the 76 for the peak profitability, and we still see it work at 70. So it's got a decent range. It's not the best, but it's I would say good enough for now. Another thing to actually keep in mind is in this particular strategy, if I applied full capital usage on every single trade, you can see the equity curve becomes quite incredible. It's about $1,000 to $262,000 over the same time period. And this is longing and shorting. The previous example was only using longs. Now, while many of you will probably look at this and think, hey, I'm just going to full port every particular trade, realistically, the amount of volatility you're going to suffer on this particular strategy is going to be quite unbearable, especially if you're putting your whole account. Imagine you have $32,000 and you're putting like $15,000 on one particular trade and $15,000 on the other trade. And this is something that a lot of times, unless you know how to prompt or you know what to look for, a lot of times AI will assume that you're going to use a full allocation on every particular trade, which is going to make an equity curve look way more exponential. But is it realistic for you to actually trade? Depends on you, and also depends on the liquidity of the market. Obviously, BTC and ETH can easily handle this account size, but if I was trading something way less liquid, that would become a big challenge. Now, lastly, how could we improve this? Now, keep in mind, this is just running on BTC and ETH. You could expand this to the top 50 tokens by momentum. It could be the top market cap coins, and the results would likely be a lot better and actually smoother because you're diversifying across more momentum signals. Now, the point of this video isn't to give you a strategy to copy and paste and trade blindly. It is to show you that with AI and the right templates, you can go from idea to validated backtest in hours instead of weeks. And more importantly, you know what to look for, so the code AI writes for you actually reflects reality. And if you want to access the templates I use, strategy ideas, and want help building your first live algo, check out the Crypto Momentum group, as I'll also be adding a version of this strategy in the group with the code. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I have many other free videos on this channel.